Good morning. Happy Friday, and welcome into the number one group of five college football podcast ever. This is the Group of Five guys, and our mission is to be the voice for the Group of Five football programs, the voice that the mainstream sports media absolutely refuses to do. We need everybody's help to do that. We need you to follow us on all the social platforms at Group of Five guys. Go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your best podcast. Subscribe to the channel, leave a 5-star rating and a review. Most importantly, tell your family and friends all about us. Or you can download the Varsity app for free and listen to the show on there. On this Friday morning, we have waited, but today we will finally talk about the UNLV quarterback Matt Sluka and his NIL situation. We'll talk about NIL a little bit as a whole. We got to recap a great Army team that played last night. We're going to preview these games for Saturday. Hope you enjoy the show.
Have you had it from somebody born and raised?
I said Michael Pratt has got to show up and play, and boy did he. 394 yards, 4 touchdowns, 48 rushing yards on the ground, and another touchdown.
Projected getting drafted between the first and third round. Like, that's incredible. The wide receivers are absolutely stacked for the group of five.
Yeah, I really appreciate you do for the group of five programs, and I think it's great. I think we should get more of this, but you guys are on the forefront of this. And
so I'm thankful for this. I'm glad that you're talking about the group of five because I think they get overlooked.
But it's a ton of fun to watch a guy go to the NFL from a Nevada or a Colorado State or a Middle Tennessee or an App State, and fans follow that kid.
Jeff, good morning.
Morning.
As you might be able to tell if you're watching, I am not in my normal setup at the moment. I am basically in an attic in a little town called Killen, Alabama. I got no headphones. I got no microphone. Got a new computer. We're testing it all out live right now. Hopefully the Wi-Fi stays good. But we're going to give it a whirl because we have a big topic to discuss today. And I guess we just need to dig right into it, man. I mean, a lot of people have been in the DMs, in the text. Can't wait to hear what y'all have to say about this UNLV situation. And I think I'm glad that we didn't necessarily have an immediate, well, Matt Sluka, quitter, or, oh, UNLV should have paid him. I'm glad we didn't have necessarily one of those immediate emotional reactions. But I do want to talk about it because, it's something. This is an example of, when guys transfer from the group of five to a P4, this is an example of what we always say. The money that you think you're going to get is not there. And I would venture to say probably more often than not, it's not there. So we can blame a coach, we can blame the kid, we can blame the parents, we can blame the agent, we can blame the university, we can blame the collective, we can blame the NCAA. But this is just another example of he said, she said. There's no contract. And so you believe who you want to believe, but one way or another, the crappy part about this situation is you have a quarterback that leaves his team the week before their biggest game of the season against Fresno State with pretty good odds to make the college football playoff. And it's just a shame that this is what this is about. This has become professional sports, and this is a holdout. This is when rookies hold out or guys hold out and don't go to camp in the NFL. That's what we're seeing now in college.
Yeah, it's frustrating on all parties, right? We just want to see football. And, this is why a lot of, before NIL and transfer portal, a lot of football fans in general liked college football and didn't like the NFL. Like, they were college football fans only, and really didn't care for the NFL because you have these contract disputes, and just all the things that come along with professional sports. College football was still pure. You're starting to see, we've seen over the last couple of years, it's becoming more and more like professional football. And I think that takes away a little bit of what made college football special. And in this particular case, who are you going to believe? When usually in these he said, she said situations, it's usually somewhere in between. And
Right.
it's usually bits and pieces. Everyone's kind of at fault. And then you have the overlying system that allows a situation like this to fester. Now, for people who aren't quite up on it, Matthew Sluka, transfer from Holy Cross, goes to UNLV in the spring. He's claiming that his agent said that there was $100,000 NIL deal on the table. UNLV is claiming that deal was never offered. I shouldn't say that. UNILV, the collective, there is saying that deal was never offered. All deals were met, which was a kind of one-off deal this year, and then $3,000 for relocation. From what I understand, Barry Odom saying, I have nothing to do with NIL. I'm here to coach football and win football games. So you have all these different pieces that are now saying different, I guess, have their own story. And I guess the frustrating thing for me is all of it, but you have this NIL agency who the agent who's supposed to be over this deal is not licensed in the state of Nevada. So that's a huge problem. The Slukas, how did you not know that this NIL agent is not licensed in the state of Nevada and you're using him anyways? I don't really know what the actual story is, but what I do know is that NIL agents, we hear more times than not of slimy stories by these agencies trying to take advantage of people. So who knows? Who knows if this agency got a hold of Sluka and was like, hey, in my mind, I'm going to inflate the price on this deal to try and attract other suitors. So I'm going to tell the Slukas that, I had a conversation. They think you're worth $100,000. Doesn't mean that there's $100,000 deal on the table, but he tells them. Now he ends up transferring. And technically, you're not supposed to have an NIL deal before you get enrolled. But it seems like, Sluka's message on Twitter, what the family is saying, that it's the reason why they went to UNLV. So that's a problem in itself. I think the NCAA has now made comments about this situation. I think there's going to be a full-fledged investigation. One thing that the NCAA does not want to see is when stuff like this goes widespread and goes public. It's been all over the news. So I'm waiting for now you got an NCAA investigation probably going to happen. This is right in the midst of UNLV being 3-0, playing against Fresno State this week, probably the biggest matchup in of the year so far. So you just have all these different pieces and facets to this story, and it all just sucks. It just sucks, and I don't trust the agency who is operating without a license. It's just all slimy to me.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. Is my number one enemy here is the agent, because it's either at best it's bad business on his part to not get this in writing. Everybody's talking about, you would leave a job.
Russ, that's part of the problem. How it's illegal as of right now for them to get a deal done before the student is enrolled. So how can they get it in writing? You see, you know what I'm saying? I agree with you. I think the agent is at fault. I think they are a huge problem in all of this NIL stuff. But at the same time, they're operating within the confines of what the NCAA has allowed. So sorry. I just want to throw that out there.
Well, no, and that's something that always, and I don't know about this particular agent or agency, but You have this NIL pop up, and then all of a sudden, here's all these brand new sports agents. And I don't know about this one. And that to me, that raises my spidey senses a little bit. But, like I said, like at best, it's bad business because he didn't get anything in writing. Everybody's, that are on the Sluka side is you would leave your job too if they said they were going to pay you $100,000 and they didn't. Well, I've never taken a job where I didn't sign an offer letter with a number on it.
Correct.
So, there's that. Now, at worst, and we'll find out if this is the case, is the agent hears through the grapevine or through whoever from another school that he can get this money. And then approached, hey, we're 3-0. Hey, group of 5 guys been talking about my client now for 2 months. He can get $100,000 from Kansas, or Louisville, just hypothetical schools. It would be a school like that. And then maybe they went in there. And also, who knows how long this thing has been going on, right? You've seen a lot of the UNLV players come out and tweet in favor of Haj Malik, who we'll talk about Haj Malik here in a little bit, Jeff, because I don't think UNLV is going to fall off as much as a lot of people think. But you have a lot of the players kind of tweeting in favor of him, which, and maybe they're salty, right? It's probably some of that. But also, you don't know if this has been going on in the locker room now for 3 weeks, and it just now, and you don't know how he's been practicing, if he's been sitting out of practices or whatever, you know what I mean? And so the whole thing is a mess, but like we've said, the real losers in this, the real people that lose is, the backup tight end that's not even close to getting an NIL offer, that works his ass off every day, 365 days a year, and has a chance at a historic season. And now his quarterback leaves. And like I said, maybe Haj Malik comes in and is just as good, if not better. But either way, I mean, you've now had 3 days where I promise you none of the questions post practice to your coaches or players had anything to do with football. And I bet you they all had to do with this Sluka situation. And that's where the most unfortunate part of all this is the distraction that they now have to deal with probably for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So it's really, I mean, it really is unfortunate. And I'll tell you, man, people are going to say, what's the solution? Call me an old man. Call me get off my lawn. But if you make them employees, go ahead and take away the free tuition, the free room and board, and all the free food, because that's worth, I don't know what tuition's costing these days over the course of a semester, but that's worth a lot of money. And I think we lose that. And in all of this, we lose that's what this was supposed to be. Decent athlete, we'll pay for your education, we'll pay for your room and board, you get free meals. I mean, I've seen people talking about that they couldn't even pay for cost of living, or there's no cost of living. It's free. I mean, I don't what cost of living. And I'm going to tell you, and not to say, oh, you got it so much better than we did, but they do. I mean, no school in the country, even 10 years ago, was getting all the meals that they're getting. We were eating fried chicken on Wednesdays. That was the best meal we were getting. We weren't getting a custom nutrition plan, with fillets and baked potatoes and all of that stuff. That wasn't a thing. And that wasn't a thing even at your rich schools not that long ago. So I just think, and again, I don't say all this to blame Sluka, because in his mind, somebody, whether it was this agent or a coach, told him he was getting this. So, when did the agent get involved? When did the agent get involved with UNLV? How did that conversation go? Because until he has something in writing or a specific coach, was it Barry Odom? Was it Brennan Marion? Really, they haven't said anything. And then even the family has kind of said, like, we don't know what's going on. That's why we hired an agent, and to me, that's where I hope, if my kids ever have this kind of opportunity. Hopefully NIL is somehow sorted out by the time they're old enough. But it's like, look, man, you go play ball. If we have an agent, that's his job. And if he doesn't get the money that he promised us, he needs to fork it over.
That's
Not
right.
Barry Odom, not Brennan Marion, not the university. I don't know.
Yeah, there's just a lack of accountability on multiple sides here. And like, look, I don't know if that conversation really happened. You know, initially everyone was like, oh, Sluka quit on his team. He just wants more money. He's greedy. You know, you don't know that. Nobody knows that. I can sympathize with the fact that it'd be damn hard for me as a player, as a quarterback, leader of your team, to 3 games in to an undefeated season where your team is in the hunt for a playoff spot, to just say, hey, I'm taking my red shirt and I'm leaving. That would be extremely difficult for me. Now, I wasn't promised $100,000. I don't know what that feels like. So,
You weren't?
you know, it's hard for me to sit here and say, but I just know how I am as a person, and, you know, my love for my teammates. And to me, the quarterback position is special. It's being a leader of men. It's having people follow you. It's leading by example. I don't think, even if I had that on the table, or I was told that I'm going to handle that at the end of the season, you know, I'm going to get it from the agency. Like, somehow I'm going to get it. And if I don't, I don't. And I learned a valuable lesson down the road. Anything like this, you got to get in writing. But it would just be tough for me to leave my guys, my squad. But then here's the other piece to it. He's only been there since spring. How much loyalty does he really have? You know, this transfer portal brings in this other element where it's like, it's a lot of guys that have only been there a couple months. You know, I think that made this decision easier because he wasn't as tied to this team, this university, these players, his teammates. So it's just, it sucks, man. We got a great game this weekend, and now you got this kind of hanging over, in the wings. And how can this not be a distraction? You know, if they come out and are going right down the field and they look like they don't skip a beat, hell, that's a credit to the players and Odom and what he's been able to do, because it has been all over the news. You know, it's all the players have been asked about and have been talking about. So, you know, it's got to be advantage Fresno State to me.
Got to be. And it wasn't like it was a huge advantage UNLV anyways. But yeah, that's what I was going to bring up too, and you hit it. This is the era of transfer portal. Somebody tweeted this. They're mercenaries. They're rental players now, and you know, you've heard places like NIU. You've heard Thomas Hammock talk about this. Is, you know, building through the high school and building a culture, but you can't do that. I'm not saying UNLV doesn't have a great culture. I'm just saying, when you have these guys you got a whole new roster every year. I mean, you got places that got 50 new guys in a season. And you can't, I hate to say it, but you've not done anything together to have the bond. You know, people bond by doing hard things together. And, you know, if you go through 4 or 5 off-season summer camps together, 4 spring balls together,
It's different.
4 summer workout programs together, you live together, you party together. I mean, you're going to have a bond whether you like it or not at that point. So I don't know. Anything else you have on this, Jeff?
Not necessarily on this topic. I think we've pretty much hit it. But this is also the sad thing. You have this story and all this stuff going around, and you continue to have conference realignment, people conferences posturing, trying to take certain teams. It's nuts. Last night, the Mountain West now is trying to get Toledo and NIU, the Pac Light over there on the West Coast. Still, I guess trying to get Texas State possibly. Now the Mountain West might be getting Texas State. Like, guys, this is the season. This is supposed to be where we're talking about games and players and performances and who's the favorite here, what team is, and instead the news is just littered with conference realignment, NIL, And it just sucks, man. It just really does. And, you know, as far as the realignment thing, this is my take on it. As far as the Pac Light is concerned, there's no way that TV deal is going to be worth the same amount. It can't be. It cannot be. It's got to be less because all your major players and brands who have the eyeballs and the fans are no longer there. I think the Sun Belt needs to renegotiate their terrible deal, TV deal. Like, we as a collective group of 5, you know, fans and players, we want to watch our teams on the big stage with a better, you know, TV broadcast. Like, I think there's value there. That's part of the reason why we've kept this thing going, because we've seen how many people love the group of 5 and the games and the players. Like, there's value there. We have to continue, not only as fans, but players and programs, educate and build the audience for the entire group of 5, for your team, for your conference. There's damn good games across the group of 5. We need to hold that to a certain value and hold these damn media companies to be like, look, it's worth more. It's worth more than this. You know, and if that's me not tuning into Georgia and Alabama, maybe that's what I got to do. It's one less TV, but collectively that's hundreds of thousands of TV. That's less on them and more on these group of 5 games. So I think it reminds me of the transfer portal. We talked about this the other day. People are just jumping at the first shiny thing that's in front of them without even knowing what the Pac-12, Pac-Light deal is going to be. Who's even there? They're not even officially a conference yet because they don't have 8 teams. So, guys, I think if we band together, build your school, build your brand, continue to build your fan base, you're going to be able to negotiate better deals in the conferences that you're in with your geographic rivalries. It's just nuts, man. I want to talk about football and not talk the first 20 minutes of the show about NIL and conference realignment.
You know what we need, Jeff?
Tell me.
We've been saying it is a group of 5 network, and it's nonstop 24/7 coverage of the group of 5.
Anybody out there with a lot of money that wants to go,
So
you got a
start
couple
their
guys.
own channel. Dude, I'm telling you though, man, I was listening to, my wife still has the free Sirius XM subscription for the free month on her car. So listen to it. There's like 100 different sports channels, and half of them just have like a repeat loop of somebody advertising the other channels. There's no reason you can't have group of 5 ball on some of these things. But last thing I want to say on the alignment stuff is, where the Mountain West revenue share, where Air Force and UNLV are getting like 24%, and I don't like that much either. I just don't like handing 2 teams more. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know, man. It's frustrating. Hey, I do want to say one other thing on the Sluka and UNLV situation, just to be clear 100% on it. We've talked to Barry Odom, we've talked to Brennan Marion, we've talked a little bit to the Sluka family, and just want to make sure we're not painting any of those people as bad people, right? And again, that's why I personally I blame the agent, because they're the ones that are supposed to be handling this business. So I'm not. It just the whole situation sucks, but that's exactly what happens when you have no regulation at all on this. NIL was supposed to be about, players, hey, they could go sign some autographs at the car dealership for some money. That's what it was supposed to be. And now it's, here's $100,000 just to come play here. And that's unfortunate, and it's gotten out of hand. I do also think, people have acted like this is the first time this has happened, but it happened the exact situation at Florida last year with that Jaden Rashada kid. We talked about it. We talked about SEC on here because of that situation with Jaden Rashada. And then you had the kid immediately after with USC, the defensive lineman. Now, I don't know about Sluka's situation, but you look at the USC kid, you look at his history on 24/7 or Rivals, and it's like multiple high schools, commit, decommit, sign, enroll somewhere else, transfer. you know, I mean, sometimes it's
It's a mess.
sometimes you become almost members of the transfer portal. You just got a membership. You're just always in it, you know. But anyway, can we talk about Army? Were we go ahead and pat yourself on the back, Jeff Murphy? Were we not spot on with this prediction?
I mean,
What I remember saying something along the lines of Army's going to go down and score. Temple's going to go 3-and-out in 1 minute. Army's going to go down and score again, and now it's 14-0. You're 3 minutes into the second quarter. That's
it's like you
about
read it, it's
exactly
like
what
you read it
happened,
off a script, pal.
Except for Temple had the ball first. So they went 3-and-out, or they didn't go 3-and-out, but they, turned it over twice. And Army went right down and scored. But man, that quarterback, Bryson Daly, 152 yards, 3 touchdowns on the ground. And then the running back, Kanye Udo. How about that? Kanye, huh? 128 yards and another touchdown on the ground for him. I mean, if you watch it, big play right off the bat, too. 61-yard touchdown on the option. They're getting you with the quarterback counter. They're getting you up the middle with the fullback dive. And that's what one of the things, Matt Berry and Dan Mullen kept saying is, a 3-yard run for most teams is kind of a win for the defense, win for the offense. It's kind of one of those neutral plays. For Army, buddy, they'll take 3 yards all day. And they just, I mean, Temple just couldn't stop it. They got a couple stops late in the first half, and you thought they might keep it close, but that was about it. And I'm telling you, Army somehow or another in their first season of American Conference football avoided Memphis, avoided Tulane, and avoided South Florida. So they got a shot now.
Luck of the draw. I mean, it really is. And kudos to them for being ready for the moment, being ready for this season. And Bryson Daly, man, he runs this offense like picture perfect to a T. Makes good decisions. Makes plays with his feet. You can throw it a little bit. Only threw it 6 times, but when this round game is going like this, you don't have to. And shout out to the Army defense. I talked about them on the previous show as well. -5 rushing yards. And I know it's Temple, so I don't want to get off, but they've been doing this all year. Their defense is playing great ball, complemented by their offense, controlling time of possession. And this is what a triple option team does, and this is what they can do to you. I don't see. I mean, they're just going to continue to build confidence with these wins. They're going to continue to roll. They're going to continue to stay healthy. Like Army is a real contender in the American Conference, and a lot of it is based on their schedule because they avoid the top teams. But that's not their fault. They're just doing what they're playing the schedule that's in front of them. Having phenomenal offensive performances. They had 417 rushing yards yesterday. So shout out to Army, man. I love it. Let's go. Why not? Why not a triple option team? This is going to be the committee's nightmare. If Army can be undefeated and win the conference, you're going to have an undefeated triple option team. You'll probably have a 1-loss team out in the Mountain West, and then you're going to have probably an undefeated Liberty in Conference USA. And then maybe, a 1 or 2 loss Bowling Green who knows who the MAC rep's going to be, but it's like, who are you going to go with?
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Well, the other nightmare, this is going to be the nightmare for me, is when Army gets announced to make the college football playoff and then they lose to Navy the next day.
Right. That is
in an
true.
exhibition game. And I was going to sit here and say, well, Army's, they're going to have to play Memphis, Tulane, or South Florida in the championship game. However, Memphis already has a conference loss, it is to the Naval Academy. So we got to start paying attention to both of these teams. We got to look at Navy's schedule too, because they're both going to play Notre Dame. Wouldn't that be something if they both knocked off Notre Dame? I would
Oh,
love
that would
that
be great.
more than just about anything. But yeah, I mean, they are for real. This is not they're beating teams because of a gimmicky triple option offense. They are really good.
Navy
They're
does
very, very
have
good.
to play South Florida and Tulane back to back. That's a tough stretch. As long as Byron Brown is back, he should be by then, I would assume.
Yeah, I think he's been practicing this week, I think, already. So
Yeah.
Man, eh, yeah, nobody's going to want any part of that. That's their other nightmare is which one of ESPN's cash cows, cough cough, SEC runner up, Alabama, Georgia, Texas, whichever one it is, are they gonna not want to play Army in round one of the playoffs? Because I'm gonna tell you, nobody wants to. You talk about playing in a physical, difficult SEC, you go play Army on your 14th game of the season.
Mm-hmm.
See how that treats you. Oh, and I mean, this wouldn't happen, but again, you just imagine that on campus at
Oh
Army
my
at
gosh.
West Point.
Kraken.
It'd be, I mean, they would, every once in a while, I don't know what they call it at Army, like the commandant, basically the president of the school at those places. It's a general or colonel or something. They'll just cancel classes or cancel because those places have weekend stuff to do too. It's not like, oh, thank God classes out on Friday. Now I go float on a river. It's like classes out on Friday. Now we go crawl through a damn barbed wire trap.
Right.
And so sometimes they cancel that stuff. And I can promise you anything would be canceled if the Black Knights of Army were making a playoff run. I'm on the train, man. I am on the Army train. I'm on the Army train more so than Navy's right now, but that could be because I haven't watched as much of Navy. I know Navy beat Memphis, but man, Army just looks just solid. I mean, they don't mess up, man. So, well, let's talk about some games for Saturday. No Group of Five Friday night games. We got a couple Power Four opportunities. You got Western Kentucky at Boston College. And here's where, we talked about this on Wednesday, Jeff, is that graph that was saying, look at all these games on the road. They're all on the road.
Every one of them.
I mean, for what it's worth, like, I don't know. It's sorry, I was trying to read the chat there. But yeah, they're all on the road, so you can't tell me that doesn't swing some of these games. And then then you want to talk about home cooking and conference home cooking officials, that comes into play as well. But Western Kentucky at Boston College, 2-touchdown favorites. Can Western continue the momentum that they have? This put Western Kentucky on the map now, but Boston College has been playing well. Bill O'Brien's building himself a nice little program up there.
Yeah, and they got a good quarterback in Castellanos. He's a dynamic player, and he's done well this season. TJ Finley's coming off a lower leg procedure. He's going to be out for the foreseeable future. They haven't put a timeline on it yet. So this is Caden Veltkamp's team right now, this offense, and he's ran it well the last few weeks. And I talked about this kid in the preseason, Keyshawn Johnson from Alabama State. He's their leading receiver, dynamic player. And he's going to have a great game if they want to have a chance on the road at Boston College. I just think it's going to be a little bit too much for them. I don't think their defense is quite there. We know their offense. They're going to spread it out and throw it a bunch. Don't have a great run game. And I think against P4 teams, you have to at least be able to run the ball somewhat. Or else, if your pass game's not working, now it's 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. So I think it's going to be a tall task. I don't think Western can get it done. Hoping they can keep them close and have a good performance, though.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that. NIU going to NC State, 6.5 point line on this. Can NIU get P4 win number 2 on the year? I don't know. I think that's going to be tough also for them.
Yeah, I think so as well. They need to get back to what they do: run the ball, play stingy defense, and don't turn it over. If they can do that, they'll have a shot in this game, and I think they do. I think Hammock's going to have these guys ready. They seem to like to be on the road against these Power 4 matchups. So who knows? Maybe they can get their second Power 4 win of the year.
Yeah. I know Terry Johnson's probably not going to like this. He, for some reason, thinks Louisiana is so bad. I think he's playing reverse psychology
I think that's what
with
it is
his own
too.
team. But Louisiana going to Wake Forest, 3.5-point favorites. Hank Bachmeier, Group of 5 mainstay at
He's
quarterback, is Wake Forest quarterback. Had no idea, but here's the deal. Wake Forest 98th in the country in run defense. Louisiana as a team averaging 6.1 yards per carry. I think Louisiana ought to be able to run the ball on them a little bit. So I think the Cajuns have a shot here.
I think they have a great shot. You take away, we've been high on Tulane. You take away a pick six and a kick return for a touchdown last week, Louisiana's right in that game and possibly have a chance to win it. So they got to play cleaner. This pass rush has got to show up. We've heard a lot about it. Hadn't been as productive probably as everyone has thought. But I like Ben Woolridge, man. He's done a good job. I think he's playing clean football over the last couple of weeks, minus, the pick, especially last week. I like the Cajuns. I think the Cajuns win this game. I really do. And not just because I'm being the G5 homer. I think they're the overall better team.
Yeah. A lot of people are saying this game is sneaky, which I don't like because I would have told you it was sneaky until everybody warned us about it. And now it's not sneaking up on anybody anymore. South Alabama going to Baton Rouge to play LSU. LSU is 3 touchdown favorites. I think I still am not sure which South Alabama team we're going to see. And if we see the one that played in Boone the other night, we got a chance. If we see the one that opened the season versus North Texas and they can't stop anybody, they don't have a chance. Either way, I really want to see what Gio Lopez can do against LSU. I know LSU is not. I mean, Brian Kelly's seat's got to be getting warm down there because they're one of the. As much as I don't like Brian Kelly, I think LSU is one of the more delusional ones too, and they don't stand for this stuff. They think LSU is one of those weird places where these coaches come in for their first year and win a national championship, and then all of a sudden they fall apart. Well, Brian Kelly just skipped the national championship part and started falling apart. So this is not the LSU team that I guess we're used to seeing. But it's at LSU, which probably one of the most difficult places to play.
And it's a night game.
Is it a night game?
It's like 6:45.
Yeah, so they're probably already liquored up, 48 hours before the game over there. The place is going to be wild. But I do like South to cover that. I do like them to cover that either way.
I like the cover, and I like the money line, Sprouse. I think South Alabama. You want a value bet? Throw a little money on them. Throw a little money on that money line because you got Gio Lopez and a coach in Applewhite that I think understands the strengths of this offense and what they need to do. And they have been big play after big play this season when Gio Lopez has been on the field, and he looks to be healthy. And I want to see him go in to this hostile environment and make Brian Kelly's seat even warmer. I think that why not take the win? They can do it.
Jeff, I got to say it now. Who has more accent changes, Brian Kelly or Kamala Harris?
I mean, I think it's our vice president currently, but damn it, Brian Kelly, he's a chameleon himself.
He is, man.
I didn't know he was had Cajun roots.
I didn't know he did either. Hey, here's one that's future Pac-7 conference game. Washington State at Boise State. This is the one where Group I don't know what we're calling Washington State now. I think while we can count this as a P4 win. Um, Boise State 7.5 point favorites. Jeff Ashton Genty right now, so he's second in the country in total rushing yards. I can't remember who's above him, but he's got a whole nother game on his hands. Ashton Genty is averaging over 10 yards per carry.
That's stupid.
Is that good?
That's ridiculous. The problem is a running back, I don't think has won. How long has it been since a running back has won the Heisman? It's been a while, right?
Mark Ingram, was he the last one from Bama?
I mean, that's got to be over 10 years ago, right?
Yeah, because he's already
two
retired from the league.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So
is he the last one?
I'd have to look it up. But my point I'm making is it's become a quarterback award, which as a quarterback, like, I don't know. At least he's in the conversation. He's getting recognition.
Yeah,
but that's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, I'll
10
say
yards per carry.
It's so stupid, and it's not like he's not getting. You know what I mean? It's not like he's got one long run, but I'm trying to think though. Is there really a quarterback though that's like playing well enough right now to be? It's the kid at Miami. He's probably
Cam Ward be the top.
He's probably one of the favorites. Milroe at Bama, probably. I mean, that's look. It's gonna. Yeah, you're right. It'd be the quarterback of one of the best teams, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, give me Boise. Washington State's 4-0 though. Just
I was gonna say I don't know. This game just feels like to me. It's one that's gonna be close, and like I could just see it something happening late, and it happens to go like Washington State's way. I think Boise's the better team. They got the better athlete, but we'll see. It's on the blue turf. It's at home. They're favored. I don't know. Something about it doesn't feel good to me.
Let me ask you this question, Jeff, because I've been going back and forth on this. Boise, we know it's the biggest brand in the group of five. That's a fact. I don't think there's any denying that. And it has been for 2 decades. Do you think the committee, or should I say the TV networks, would rather a team like Boise State get in because of their brand, or would they rather it be somebody else that they don't want to beat an SEC team? Like that they don't, you see what I'm saying? Like if it comes down to, a one-loss Boise, and I'm not saying they're not, but an undefeated Liberty, and if in the committee's mind they think Liberty cannot beat whoever it is, Ohio State, let's put Liberty in that spot so we make sure we don't have an upset. Or is it, let's put Boise there because that might actually be a pretty damn good game, and that's what fans would want to see. However, we risk knocking out one of the Blue Bloods. You see where I'm getting at here?
Yeah, I think so.
And I say all that to say, if the situation like you just said with Washington State happens and there's a late questionable call, would we say, oh yeah, they don't want Boise in because they don't want to lose? Or could it go Boise's way because they want Boise to be that rep? Because like my favorite book says, Jeff, brands win championships.
I think that anytime the committee can slight the group of five, they are going to take that opportunity. Now, if you get to the end of the season, you got an undefeated Liberty and undefeated or one loss Boise State. I think they would go Boise State mainly because of what happened last year with Liberty in the Fiesta Bowl. So I'm never going to put it past the committee to, take a cheap shot or screw the group of five entirely. But I think they're going to have a hard time putting in undefeated Liberty over a one-loss Boise.
Well, but do you think that they would, in the hopes that Liberty would get blown out again? And then they would say, well, see, this was a bad move giving them a spot.
I don't know if they would do it on, I don't know if they could get away with doing it on purpose again Well, I shouldn't say again. Like after last year, you know what I mean? Because then it would almost seem like too blatant.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's going to shake
Well-
out though. Well, Liberty's going to lose to the Blue Raiders in November, so it really doesn't matter.
Oh, jeez. They might. If you would have asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said they might lose tomorrow tomorrow. Let's talk about some of these. We got non-conference games, group of 5 versus group of 5 and or group of 5 versus FCS. Buffalo going to UConn. How about UConn now? Where are they at in all this conference mix?
I have no idea. Nobody's really been talking about them. They are
They gotta
favored.
they would be a good target,
Yeah,
especially with basketball.
So. Yeah, especially the basketball element. I actually kind of like Buffalo. The thing that worries me is the big win against NIU last week. But they have the second ranked defense in the MAC right now. They got something going. Offense seems like it's hitting some strides. I think they got a shot to win this game on the road. Why not?
This is going to be so similar to what we always say about NIU, and it's pretty much the same thing you could say about everyone in the MAC. Is when Buffalo was rolling under Lance Leipold, who's at Kansas now, you had really good linebacker, really good running back, great defense, run the ball.
That's your MAC recipe.
Here we go. I mean, staying in the MAC, Ball State going to James Madison. 21-point line on this. James Madison, I think, wins that game. Ball State is just not doing so hot. Alonzo Barnett, give me a big game out of him.
Yeah, I think JMU gets it done. Ball State's been playing better the last couple weeks, though. I'm not sure if they cover this. I think the 70-point performance last week, I could see them having a little bit. They're not going to put up 70, I don't think. Plus, I don't know how this weather. By the way, we got this hurricane coming up. Hope everyone's staying safe. If you're down in the Gulf, I don't know where this weather is going to be moving this weekend. I know it's supposed to rain here, like all Friday, all today and Saturday. So that's something to keep an eye out when you're betting.
Well,
Check the weather.
They had. I saw some videos of like what you call like mudslides up in the mountains. So the Boone, Harrisonburg, anything Tennessee, Carolinas, probably getting some at minimum getting some heavy rain. I mean, I drove from Columbus to Florence last night, and it was raining the whole way. No wind or anything yet. Fairly certain the Panhandle's getting smoked.
Yeah,
Joe, I see you in the chat. Hopefully, you're all right down there. I mean, I know there's places. I know somebody I work with was going to go down to Apalachicola. I was like, don't think you are.
Yeah.
Don't think you're going to make it down there. So
my last comment on the game itself is I want to see if AB3 can be consistent. Now, if you got a wet, rainy game Saturday, that's I give him a pass on that performance. It's just going to be. It's always difficult to play a rain game as a quarterback, but just want to see that offense be consistent because they look good one week, but when they played, who was it, Gardner Webb, not so much. So I want to start seeing some consistency by the Dukes before their fan base completely just like writes us off as a podcast.
I want to see them hang 70 again, and we might sneak them into the top 5, Jeff. I don't know.
We'll see.
It's possible. Let's roll. Well, this one's kind of sneaky now. Texas State at Sam Houston. It's a neutral. I believe it's at the Texans at NRG. Sneaky game here. Texas State 8-point favorites. They hadn't played in a while. They had that Thursday night game and then a bye, right?
Long layoff.
We'll see. We'll see. I think this is going to be a really good game. Very underrated game.
Yeah. What I want to see is I want to see Texas State after this week and a half or whatever it was off come out quick. Because if they can come out quick, that tells me that they're locked in. Kenny's got a good plan coming off a long break like this against the Sam Houston team who's stringing together some good performances, got a couple wins. But they should be fresh, man. Bobcats should be ready to roll. I'm sure they're itching to play a game. Probably feels like a month off, but it's only been a week and a half.
Well, and what's funny, even though they lost that game against Arizona State, you had all this hype train around them.
Yeah.
Now you're hearing about them going to the Pac-12 or the Mountain West or somewhere like that. So you got this hype train. You want to keep that thing rolling. So you want to
Yes, you
keep
do.
playing. Um, UMass at Miami. I think Miami's going to finally get a win under their belt. I don't think they'll cover 17 and a half because I don't know that they'll score more than 17 points.
I
I
agree.
mean,
I agree with you.
UMass is not a world beater, but I'm sorry. I'm just mad. I'm mad because I was really hyping up Miami this offseason and they have let me down completely. Now, what are they? 0-3? They might win 10 games. They might win the rest of their games, but right now, not impressive. Um, would have been the biggest game of the weekend if not for Liberty struggling a bit and App State's performances in Boone. The weather probably favors App State, I would think. Maybe not.
I mean,
Liberty three and a
Liberty's
half point favorites. I just still cannot get over App State giving up big plays. And that's what I think Liberty is going to do to them. I until I see otherwise, I'm not going to roll with the Mountaineers, Jeff. I can't do it. I cannot, in good faith, pick App State here.
well, it's showing fog early morning Saturday. I think the rain will be gone. So we got to keep an eye on that. Betting purposes, I'm not betting on this game. I'm staying
I
away.
wouldn't touch it.
But you know what? I'm going to back Sean Clark. I think Sean Clark is a great coach and doesn't get enough credit. And I'm going to give a little bit of kudos to Chadwell in his press conference. He said that, and he didn't have to. And maybe he was just trying to, put out some goodwill there. But I just find it hard to believe that App State's not going to be ready to play after that performance at home last week. They got to get it together, and it's got to be at this game, because if they lose this game, I mean, their fan base is going to lose their mind. And it's
Wheels are going to fall off.
I would love to know what the last time App State's lost back-to-back home games. I would bet that it's been a while. So you know what? App State at home. I love the Liberty faithful, but I think App State gets it done.
Wow. Yeah, give me the Flames. I just again, they are trending as they've kind of gotten better each week. Apps kind of seems like they're going the other way. San Diego State at Central Michigan. Give me Central Michigan, Jeff. They got a little sneaky squad there.
They do. I'm mainly taking them because they're at home. But Joey Labus, 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Not good. He's got to not turn it over. We did see Burt Emanuel last week had a touchdown pass. I think it was just kind of a special package type deal. But interested to see how that situation plays out. Start of the season, he wasn't even on the depth chart. And now he's back. He's a dynamic player.
Mm-hmm.
But the Chippewas, they're at home. I like them.
Yeah. Western Michigan at Marshall. This is a sneaky good game too. I want to see. I'm going to go Marshall because I'm still kind of high on Marshall. Marshall to me is a lot better than what are they 1-2 with a loss to Ohio State and somebody else that's fine for them to lose to. Virginia Tech maybe.
Yep, that's what it was.
Yeah, it was Virginia Tech, but they didn't play terrible in really either of those games. I look for them to start rolling a little bit. I think they're pretty damn good defensively. So give me Marshall.
This might be my favorite group of 5 on group of 5 matchup, because I think it's going to tell a lot about both teams. Both teams have played big Power 4 programs in the first 3 weeks. Western Michigan had Ohio State and Penn State and played, I feel like relatively well. The thing that's interesting about Western Michigan, we talked a lot about Jalen Buckley. He's the 3rd leading rusher on this program, and that's in attempts. So I'm not really sure what's going on there. because he's a dynamic player and he's just not getting the same amount of touches. So, but
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch this game. Marshall Stone Earl still in the mix, doing a pretty good job. So we'll see what happens. I can't wait to watch this game.
Yep. I'm going to try to roll through these next ones pretty quick. Old Dominion at Bowling Green. Give me Bowling Green. I don't know about by 10, though. UT Martin going to Kennesaw State. Can Kennesaw State get their first win as an FBS program? I think they do. Wagner going to Boca to play FAU. Give me the Owls. New Mexico at New Mexico State. I am tempted. I almost want to go New Mexico State, but I think that quarterback at New Mexico is pretty damn good. So give me the Lobos in that one. I'm just going to go ahead and skip over middle versus Memphis. We have no shot, especially coming off of a Memphis loss. Look out.
Yeah, I hate
Look
to say
out, Jeff. Could get a little ugly there. Got a few conference games. Navy at UAB. Navy minus 3.5. I think Navy. I think Navy's pretty good, and UAB is just inconsistent for me.
Yeah, their offense hasn't looked as explosive as the last couple of years. I think Navy covers the 3.5.
In an early, I would almost say must-win game for both teams. South Florida going to Tulane. Tulane is -5. Byron Brown has been practicing. Alex Golesh said he looks good. To me, that's the key. If he's 85% or better, I think they got a chance. I don't know, man. I think that's going to be a really good game. Really good game.
It's going to be an awesome game, and I wonder how much Byron Brown looks great. Is coach talk? Nobody will know until Saturday. I think this is a big Mekhi Hughes game. I think Tulane needs to control time of possession. I think South Florida's back end, their secondary, is a strength of their defense. So Mensah, you don't need to force the ball. Just take what the defense gives you and lean on that run game. I think Tulane wins this game, but I think it's a great close matchup.
I'm just going to go against the grain with you here, Jeff, and I'm going to take the Bulls.
Ooh.
I'm gonna do it. I don't like it. I'm not confident, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the Bulls. UTSA at ECU. ECU is 4-point favorites in this game. I think that's interesting. I think UTSA wins that game.
I don't know what to think about this game other than interested to see both quarterbacks play. McCown hasn't looked great. Neither has Garcia. Garcia has a lot of turnovers this year. They're sticking with him. Whoever wins the turnover battle, I think wins the game.
Yeah. Give me UTSA though to win it. Tulsa at North Texas. Give me North Texas. 6.5-point favorites. I think they win by a touchdown. Conference USA. La Tech going down to FIU. I'm going to throw my hands up in the air. Both teams just no idea what we're going to see out of this game. FIU, they look good one week. They look terrible the next week. La Tech look pretty good one week. They look not very good the next week. I'll probably go La Tech here if I was going to bet on it, but I'm not going to.
Home dog. Give me FIU. Panthers, come on,
Really?
man. Let's get a win. Let's get rolling.
Let's get Pitbull Stadium rocking,
Ain't no doubt.
Little bit of action. You got two kind of big spreads here. Akron at Ohio. Ohio 12.5-point favorites. Yeah, Bobcats. Eastern Michigan on the road at Kent State 15.5-point. I'm with you. Take the Eagles there.
Sneaky Eagle team.
Those
kind of flying under the radar.
They are flying under the radar. Max Crosby Field. Mountain West. First, let's talk Air Force at just two teams that have been bad. No other way to say it. They've both been bad. I'm gonna go Air Force. I think they are favored on the road. But man, we see if one of those teams can at least get something going.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the total is on this game, but I would take the under, whatever it is. Take the under.
Yeah, not good. Fresno State at UNLV. UNLV, as of yesterday, was still -2 in this game. Post the Sluka news. Jeff, I have a feeling you were maybe going to pick Fresno State either way here. I want to ask you, has your opinion changed at all based on the Sluka news?
Yeah, I think it has. I just don't know how you have this much of a distraction and it not cause an issue, one way or another. Now, I hope they, rally behind their new starting quarterback. But I think Fresno State is a complete team in the Mountain West. I'm not sure how much better of a thrower, Hodge is. I was originally going to go UNLV, but I'm going
Were
for
you?
I was, because I had UNLV winning it all. So I'm going to go Fresno State mainly because of all the stuff that's going on. I don't know how you can overcome all of it. And if they do,
Yeah.
great. And they are even more of a favorite, in my opinion, if they can get through all this and beat Fresno State. I just don't know. It's a lot going on there.
Yeah. Well, Hodge Malik Williams had a 70% completion rate at Campbell. So he supposedly is the better thrower. What I don't know if he has is, not to be cliche, but Sluka had that dog in him. And, there were those plays where he, made plays with his feet that were like, damn, dude, this guy's just
Slippery
special.
when wet.
Now, have you seen Haj Malik? I mean, the guy's built like a damn Roman statue.
He's a big dude.
So if he can run it even close to what Sluka could and throw it a little better, UNLV might be in a better spot. And I think, and again, I want to go back to what we said earlier. How long has this NIL debate been happening with Sluka? Maybe, yes, you have this distraction in the media, but you may have had a distraction in your locker room for 3-4 weeks already.
Right.
And now it's gone. So that's something to look out for. I'm rooting very hard for this Hodge Malik Williams kid.
Me too.
Because you know what? He transfers in. He's in a 3-way QB battle. He doesn't win it. And, he doesn't red shirt and transfer. You know what I mean? And now here's his shot on the biggest stage in their biggest conference game of the year, or their biggest game of the year. I mean, Fresno State is better than Kansas or Houston. So I'm interested. Really good game. If he doesn't make mistakes, like fatal mistakes, I'm going to stick with UNLV in this game. Very, very close.
Yeah.
Very, very close. But we shall see. It seems like, like I say, he was the locker room favorite. It seems like. So see if the team rallies behind him. Also, I had some stuff going back and forth on Twitter about Ricky White, because remember we were watching Ricky White last week and we were like, man, this dude's loafing. And somebody,
I think it was
Rico knows,
Yeah.
made a good point. Like, it's pretty hard to stay engaged when your quarterback can't get you the ball. Now, I think that was a low blow at Sluka, but maybe that is the case, though. So we'll see. Sunbelt, La Monroe going to Troy. I'm telling you, Troy is going to start piling some wins up. So look out for the Trojans there. Georgia Southern at Georgia State. It's called modern day hate. Okay. I'm not going to call it a homegrown rivalry or whatever the hell they're trying to name it. You also see where Georgia State's not letting them fly the Eagle because of liabilities in the stadium. Look, I'm not even saying this as a knock to Georgia State, but you ain't going to be nobody there anyway.
Right.
Besides Georgia Southern fans. So I don't like that. I'm actually shocked the fact that Georgia State is favored in this game by 3.5. I think this is simply a trap because the casual bettor is going to say, oh, Georgia State beat Vanderbilt last week or 2 weeks ago. They're going to be pretty good. Give me Georgia Southern road money line all day long.
I agree. I think Georgia Southern's a good team. We've said that kind of the last couple of weeks that they're one of those teams that are kind of lurking in the East. But this is a big East matchup. They got to get it done. I think they do on the road.
I like it. A lot of good games. We're starting to get into some more conference play, more group of five on group of five. Really good, interesting matchup. So looking forward to a big time Saturday. Jeff, we got 3 voicemails. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir.
Got 3 voicemails, you guys. After Saturday, after your team plays, we want the raw emotion. Call the hotline 615-900-4286. Leave a voice message, and we will play it on the air. Jeff will try his best to bleep out any of your
obscenities,
unnecessary language. Let's get it.
All right, let's get to our first one. It's a new caller. Didn't leave his name, but appreciate you calling in.
Group of 5 guys, first and foremost, thanks for everything you're doing to represent, cover, and bring the proper light to the Group of 5 institutions. With that, it's wonderful to see some great ball action going on in the Group of 5. The unfortunate part where we normally enjoy parity, the Group of 5 doesn't necessarily have that luxury, and I don't know if that's something you guys cover too much, but parity is good. But for the Group of 5, it might not be in light of the college football playoff, right? Your Power 4 program, so to speak, there's a lot of grace when you lose a game. Not so much in the Group of 5, only when you look at it in context of the college football playoff, right? Which brings you to the next point. Let's enjoy the ride. I mean, there's some great football going on. Got to see Pete Lembo's boys knock off NIU. Now we know that neither of those schools are going to have an opportunity to college football playoff, but those fans deserve something to cheer about, right? There's a lot of good ball going on, so enjoy the ride. It's not all about the college football playoff. It's a lot of good games. We got to really just kind of recalibrate and enjoy the ride. So keep doing what you're doing, bringing light to all these great games, great institutions. I can tell you, it's greatly appreciated. It's not all about the bad things or the disheartening things like, looking at what happened with Fluka over there in UNLV, the NIL, right? College football landscape. It's just not what we knew it to be before. But, that brings up one of the great stories going on right now. And it is a reflection of probably what is the closest thing resembling college football in its purest form that we remember it. And that's in the military academies. No red shirts, none of that going on. They don't have NIL. It's quite frankly, it's astonishing that those schools ever win a game. And not only do they win games, they're winning a lot of games, particularly Air Force. And look, as an Air Force guy, not a veteran, just love the Air Force Academy. It's tough to watch what the other schools are doing, the military academies, but you got to enjoy it. It's some great football going on, and it represents all that's best in football and our people. Remember, there are 2 people that have died for you: the American soldier and Jesus Christ. Keep that at heart. Keep doing what you guys are doing. Thanks for everything you guys have brought to the table. Always look forward to your podcast. God bless you.
Amen, brother.
Great call.
Ain't no doubt about it. Appreciate
Great
you.
call. Yeah, Air Force, unfortunately, not doing what they normally do. But I was going to mention that too. Hey, you're a high school kid. You want to go get a place where you're guaranteed to get whatever NIL money you're owed. Go to the academy because they'll give you get a military, like a stipend. I mean, I was getting like $800 a month
There you go.
at the Air Force Academy. A Florida resident, you don't have to pay taxes on it either. So, but I mean, yeah, they don't have to deal with it. They don't get the luxury of getting transfers when they need it to necessarily fill a spot, but they're, after a guy's sophomore year, they can't leave. So, but they're rolling.
Now's you can't leave.
Best movie scene maybe of all time.
So
that, and I would honestly put that in definitely my top 3. I'd go that scene. I'd go the gladiator scene. My name is Maximus Decimus. That scene is maybe my favorite. Trying to think of number 3. Now You Can't Leave is good. Bronx Tale,
really good.
Really good.
One of
really
my favorite
good
movies of all time. There's so many.
Yeah,
many
but
good ones.
anyway, what do we got next?
All right. It's our boy Terry Johnson.
Revive guys, Terry Johnson calling here, and I just wanted to call about this whole Matt Fluke, UNLV situation. I think it's crazy. There's three sides of the story. Your side, their side, the truth, and on both. One, Matt Fluke is giving up on the team, but also apparently he wasn't promised. He wasn't given the money he was promised. I think he's a solid player. I mean, he is 43% of passing on the year, which is, let's be honest, that's horrible. But he's a great runner. So, I mean, whatever place he goes to, hope he finds some success there. But also, man, he's giving up the team. Now, also, UNLV probably didn't hold up their end of the bargain. And, there's a bigger issue in college football than just this. This is going on. I mean, this went on with, Florida before they signed one of their big quarterback recruits. He, decommitted. And so he decided to go somewhere else. So this is an issue that we're probably not going to see we're probably going to see this multiple times, throughout college football, just the way the beast. But the money in football and sports is crazy, right? Me and my wife were watching, the Aaron Hernandez show on FX, which is a good show. I advise you guys to watch it if you haven't. But it's funny how Disney owns Hulu and FX, Fox, basically. FX creates this Aaron Hernandez show. Aaron Hernandez went to Florida, which is an SEC school. SEC and Disney, the SEC and Disney are in partners basically with this whole TV money. And just the beast just keeps feeding itself. It just keeps feeding itself over and over. And like I said, I enjoy the show. But, it's great marketing for the SEC, for ESPN, for Florida, for, it's marketing that just partners just keep feeding the beast. And, it's something in college football. It's horrible that it's coming to the point to where, which money always, was a driver in college football, in the past, 40, 50 years. But right now it's just ridiculous. UL prepares for Wake Forest, which Wake Forest isn't all a great team overall, but they do have, old Boise State quarterback over there. What's his name? I forgot his name. I know he went to Boise State and then he went to Tech down in Ruston. So we're going to play them, and, we're missing our number one defensive player, Casey Osai, due to injury. Don't know when he's going to be back. Our strength conditioning program is just atrocious to where we just can't keep offensive or defensive players healthy throughout the first 3 games of the season. I understand, injuries happen, but we missed a lot of tackles last week against Tulane, and we're gonna be slipping and sliding out there like we're slipping and sliding at a Diddy party, and there's too much baby oil on the ground. So who knows? Maybe they'll prove me wrong. God bless Group of 5. God bless Group of 5, guys. Go Cajuns.
Terry J with the Diddy reference.
Nice. I've been waiting for some Diddy references to come on the show.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, he said a lot. It does. I'm with him though, man. The whole Disney SEC stuff. I mean, we've kind of referenced that a little bit, and don't think that doesn't come into play with these committees that are the committee that's full of politicians.
Yep.
Politicians and athletic directors. So
the only thing I could say, man, is if you're tired of the beast, you just got to do it one person at a time. You got to make that choice. Stop feeding it. I know it's hard because they control so much, but I hate ESPN.
Unfortunately, the big story in college football, it has to do with the Group of 5 right now. But there's some people that are fans of the quote unquote big Power 4 schools that are also tired of it. Hey, man,
yeah,
you tired of Brian Kelly paying guys to come to LSU every year? Come watch the Cajuns. We got a pure product over here.
No doubt. Well, Sprouse, I'm not tired. You want to know why?
Why's that?
Deca Gray Coffee Company. Go
Buddy,
check them out. I got them in my cup this morning. I know it's at the end of the show. We normally hit it at the top, but
that's my fault, and that's because I am tired because I don't have it.
I know
because I'm not home. And you look at me, I look like I need to start putting skincare routine under my eyelids. Getting bags under my eyes. I'm so damn tired. But yeah. Hey, Deca Gray, get your game day dark roast. Group of 5 guys game day dark roast. DecaGray.com. Use our code GOFG, 10% discount plus free shipping on your roast to order coffee.
Boom. Let's get to our last one. Last caller of the day. The juice is on the loose, my friend. He's back.
Hey, y'all. What's going on? This is Juice. This weekend I'm heading to New Orleans. I'm going to watch what I think is a pretty important matchup, Tulane against South Florida to start off conference play. And I think this is going to be a critical game because I think we're two of the top teams in our conference. So getting a victory to start off with a conference win for either of us is pretty important. And I just wanted to get y'all's prediction on the game. What do you think? What kind of chance you think we got against USF? And also wanted to say I just appreciate you guys because I have a hour commute back and forth to work every day. And so 3 days a week I get to listen to y'all's show, you know, to make the drive a lot less, you know, tiring. And anyway, just I'll be calling y'all back. I got you on the speed dial. All right. Have a good one.
There you go. I like being on the speed dial. Appreciate you, Juice. I think Tulane gets
That's
it done,
the goal, man.
I think.
Well, I predicted South Florida earlier, but I'm not confident in that pick. Not at all. So
I think this is both of these teams have played, you know, Power 4 matchups last couple weeks. I think this is a great test for both of them. Conference matchup.
Agreed.
To open it up. You're going to learn a lot about each team in this game.
Yeah, I agree. Can't wait to watch it. But hey, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you to all the callers. Thanks everybody jumping in the live chat. Make sure you hit subscribe on the YouTube channel, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you're listening to this. Follow us on all the social platforms at Group of Five Guys, or you can go to group5guys.com, get you some Group of Five Guys merch. Enjoy some damn good football this weekend. Most importantly, be careful anybody that is in the path of this hurricane. You guys have a great weekend.